to you when I need inspiration. I declare it, I'm inspired by you, and you speak the truth into my situation. The world is so colorful and wonderful in the presence of you. 'Cause you think I'm beautiful just the way that I am. Yeah, we're unbreakable. You got this world in your hand. Early days.
Hello, Spokane Man Podcast. This is KGC with the Spokane Man Podcast. And today we have a bright, young sensation coming out of Yucaipa, California. My dear friend, DANNI Steffanetti. How you doing, DANNI?
Thank you, Kaden. Thank you for having me on your show.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I just went for a swim earlier, then I got ready for this interview, and I'm having a good morning. How about yours?
Oh, I'm about as busy, because I woke up, well, never busy, and
Yeah.
done my research and I've done everything, and you just released an EPK. Talk to us about what it was like filming that.
Okay, so we filmed it in Encino, California, in Los Angeles, with a couple of my friends, and it was directed by Jeff Panzer, who is our mutual friend. And it came about when we were just doing an interview together, and we didn't know it was going to turn into something that was going to be filmed. I shared my life story, and then Jeff turned it into my online business card, and then we ended up all becoming friends, and yeah, we shared it, released it, and it was just like a really fun project to make.
So, how long did it take to record this thing?
It was only the interview probably only took an hour or so, and then I put down some tracks, but we ended up using some live footage from Big Bear, and then editing was the main time that we took. Yeah.
So, when you're obviously a singer, and one of my favorite songs that you've sang is I remember I messaged you about it, but it was a song that I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry, but
Oh.
but I love the way that you're singing because it's amazing. How
Thank
did you
you.
get into music?
I got into music because I was a really bad dancer, and my mum pulled me out of it. And so we better find you something that you're going to be good at. And then it was between the violin and guitar, and I picked the guitar because not a lot of girls were doing it at the time. And I took to it immediately. I haven't put it down since.
So, what was it? How did you find country music? Like what was it about all the other genres that kind of eliminated, you know, strictly country? Was it roots? Was it
Well, my granddad had a country book that had Delta Dawn and a lot of those, Tanya Tucker old school songs. So he was playing American country music around the house a lot. So my nana and him were playing it. So I kind of got that in my ears. But at the same time, I was also listening to Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, and psychedelic rock blues, Eric Clapton. So I got a mix of both worlds.
so so when you listen to yourself, what kind do you listen to anything you do back? Because I know I don't.
When I was younger, especially when I was first starting, I couldn't really listen to my voice back because
Yeah.
it was so young and mousy. And I was like, oh, no, no, turn it off, turn it off.
Yeah, it's weird, because even watching these podcasts back, I'll mute myself.
Yeah.
I'll turn off the volume on my computer, and I'll just look at the comments, or I'll just
Yeah.
skip to the artist because I want to see what people are saying about it. But how long did it take you to start playing live? Like, when did you start saying, I feel like I can do live shows and I feel comfortable doing it?
Uh, so my first audience was my family. and then my cousins, and then I took it to the school. So I'd play in a talent quest, and then I'd play in local shopping center talent quests. One time in my slippers, I got the encouragement award, and then I took it to the open mic nights, which were then smoky pubs in Australia. So I was 12 years old. So I think that would have been your grade 7 or 8. So my first year in high school, I was playing in pubs, and I wasn't even allowed to be in there. And that's really when I started playing like, this is what I need to be getting really good at 12 years old. Before that, I was just kind of mucking around.
You
Yeah.
know, and one of the things I love is like I was watching your EPK and people you're gonna be able to see the full thing of what I'm talking about, when this thing comes out because I get to be the editor. Uh, and you see that you're just so comfortable. Does it just come naturally, or is there like a little bit of a fright when you first walk out like butterflies for like the first two songs?
When I play guitar, that it's like another arm. It's an extension of who I am. I even find it weird to do a photo shoot without the guitar because I'm so used to it. But when I play live, I don't know, I don't really get nervous before going on, but I definitely get pumped up and excited, and I get a lot of adrenaline. I find it hard to come down because when you've been on stage, when you go back to your dressing room, or you're like, oh, wow, back to this after the big high, I find it a bit hard to come down.
So
It's like being on a lot of caffeine.
yeah,
Yeah.
like coffee and Starbucks and everything.
Yeah, it feels like drinking 20 cups of coffee when I go on stage. That's kind of what it feels like.
I've been drinking lemonade just to kind of wake myself up and I get kind of a sugar rush off that. So
Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But talk to us a little bit about what you want to do for your career. Like where do you want to see your career go? Obviously playing the Grand Ole Opry, but
Oh, you saw that in the video.
yeah. But I did my research. I when I get something and when I get an artist like you who, who's coming up, I'm excited to, help you share your story. And I think your story is that you're coming up from you came out of Australia.
Yes.
Tell us the Keith Urban story real fast because you were on the news for that.
Yeah, so I come from Perth, Australia, but I was doing a quick visit from Los Angeles to, I was there on a holiday. And I went to Nashville, and I wasn't even supposed to be there. And I was staying with some friends, and a couple of days later in the rain, I decided Keith Urban was playing at Bridgestone Arena in the center of downtown Nashville. I took the guitar with me. I was like, oh, he might sign it. Well, he didn't just sign my guitar. He came out into the crowd, and in the rain, he was standing in front of me watching me play. And I looked up, and it was Keith.
Yeah.
And this person happened to take some video content and give it to me. And then Channel 10 News got the content. Next thing in Australia, they're playing it on the news network. And yeah, it was just a really beautiful day.
So what was that like when you got back home and and you saw your new or not only your news but your your once in a lifetime opportunity playing with Keith Urban going all over the news of Australia. What was that like?
It was really weird because I didn't think I'd ever get to sing in front of him. And to look up at the time, I didn't know he was standing there. So, and I looked up to him as a guitar player since a little girl. But then when the news reporters came to my house to film me in my studio, it was really strange and surreal. I was
What
like, I can't believe that happened to me.
was it nerve was it nerve-wracking playing in front of Keith? Obviously, because I
Well,
mean,
yeah, I was nervous that day. I'm not gonna lie, that was nerve wracking
and
because we were both Australian, and we connected. We were talking about Tamworth and our family a little bit, my dad, and yeah, it was a sweetheart. But I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, I probably can't even remember my name when I was a mess.
so talk to us about what you want to do in the future. What is it that that the world needs to know about? Well, I say the world, wherever people see this.
Yes.
Where what is it that you want to be remembered by? What is it that you want to go forth in life?
Yeah. My goal with music and as a person is to spread light through my music and touch people's souls. I want people to walk away from my concert feeling like I've made their day better or their month better. And if I leave the world, I still want my songs to speak to people. I think that's the beautiful thing about being a songwriter. We have that little bit of time with people on stage to connect with people on a spiritual level. That's my goal.
You know something? I'm going to tell you something. From what I've heard, I've already grown so much in spiritual. It's because your music has helped me out in this past week getting ready for this show. I know
Oh,
when last week when we talked, I knew that when I got the DM from our mutual friend, and he said, we need to do an interview with this girl. And I knew that we had something special. And I remember texting him right after I listened to that. And I remember saying, this is a true thing right here. I remember telling him, I said, we have something special. And I feel exactly what you said, and when you're recording an album, is there any way that you go into an album, whether it be, do you do any like the mixing and mastering, or is you just go in and play and sing? And
um, I only did a full length album when I was 12 years old, and that album isn't going to be released. Other records I've done are like 6 tracks, EPs. But on one of my We Are the Music Makers EP, I recorded that in Perth, and I was part of the producing side of it as well. But I didn't do mixing or mastering, but I was part of the arrangements and instrumentations and picking where everything goes with the instruments. Yeah, I love being part of that side of it.
so, what you like doing the producing side of it?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you like so much about it?
Because there's so many variations you can do to make a song go from one lane to the other. So it's cool to have my hands on it a little bit so that if I've got session players or a drum or a bass player standing by, I at least can direct the song to, I just want it to sound as pretty as possible. And if the producer's working with me, like it's like a creative collaboration, I find we can create some really cool magic together because I want to see the picture in my head that I see for the song, but I can't do it until I go to the studio. So it all
Yeah,
comes to life.
yeah. And one of the great things that you mentioned is like how, and I'm going to go back to this on how you mentioned how your music is so spiritual, and
Yes.
have you ever thought about making a gospel record?
That'd be cool. I'd definitely be open to it. I've got quite a few songs that are in that lane, like the Christian songs. So I would love to have, yeah, a Christian country album one day. I did listen to El Shaddai and Amy Grant growing up, and I think there's something so pure and beautiful about it. And yeah, but I have a different sound when it comes to gospel, so I still like it to be kind of poppy and something you can sing along to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the first song in your EPK. I remember it's an earworm, I can't,
Oh,
it's,
you make me beautiful.
yeah,
Okay.
it's such an earworm that I can't get it out of my head. And
Awesome.
I remember I was listening to this song and I'm like, okay, they can have Maddie and Tay on country radio, but they can't have this girl hasn't been discovered yet. I'm like, what's wrong with country radio, man? You need seriously, I believe in you so much. and
Thank you.
and where can fans go to pick up your CDs? Where can they go to keep in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm pretty active on Instagram, so they can send me a message or watch all my videos on there. And Facebook, I post a lot of videos. All my tracks are up on iTunes and Spotify, but we are working on some new tracks at the moment. So that's really exciting. But my older stuff is online at the moment on Spotify and iTunes.
And you're also pretty active on Twitter.
Oh, I just started. Y'all got me onto there. So I'm trying to get the hang of Twitter. So getting there.
I'll tell you, Twitter can be fun, and then it also keeps me up late at night. Thank
Right.
you, Twitter. But Danny,
Shout out to Twitter.
yes, shout out to Twitter. Also, who are your inspirations in life before we get out of here? I have to ask you, who are your musical influences that you've looked up to that might shock us?
Huh. There's so many. Like I liked Sting. I like Dolly Parton. Okay, Elvis Presley is my favorite, my personal favorite. But the Eagles were my favorite band. I love Led Zeppelin, but the Eagles were my favorite.
Yeah, that's a group that, as I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is celebrating a big anniversary with "Take It Easy" coming up.
Oh yes, with the Oak Ridge. Oh no, William Lee Golden and the
William Lee
Goldens.
Golden and the
Right.
Goldens. Yes, they
Super
re-released.
exciting.
Yes, and let me tell you something. I go to I go to baseball games, just
Yes.
because I'm the most boringest person you'll ever meet, guaranteed. And I'll tell you something. I heard them sing "Country Roads Take Me Home," and I stood there. This was at the ball game, and I heard them singing, and I'm like, "This isn't Rusty Golden, this isn't Rusty because
Yeah.
he puts a lot of power, and I can't even capture what I want in Rusty Golden.
Right. Uh-huh.
It's amazing." But Danny, I cannot wait for people to hear you. I cannot wait for you to become I can't wait to watch you on the CMAs and call our mutual friend up and say, "Look at what we've done, man." And I believe within the next 5 months, you'll 5 years, you'll be on the CMAs.
Wow. Well, thank you for your belief in me so early on. We're only just getting started, so this is exciting. I appreciate your support.
Trust me, and I'll be looking for that album. I know that
Oh yes.
I know that you'll be sending me one, and I know that. But Danny, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you, and come back and visit me anytime you need.
I'd love to. Thank you, Kaden. Thank you for listening to my music, and I'm so excited to have you part of my journey moving forward.
That's right.
Thank you.
I'll be your biggest fan.
Fan and friend.
Biggest fan and friend. Thank you, Danny.
Thanks, Kaden.
'Cause you think I'm beautiful, just the way that I am. Yeah, we're unbreakable. You got this whole wide world in your hands. Oh, I think you're beautiful, just the way that you are. Yeah, we're unstoppable, 'cause honey, we've come this far.
Thank you so much for watching this podcast, and I hope you enjoyed it.